Truth seekers, I've come across an abstract which is the work of Dr. Stephen Gundry. This is his YouTube channel, the Dr. Gundry Podcast. His abstract was published in a high-impact journal called Circulation. Title of the abstract: mRNA pokes dramatically increase endothelial inflammatory markers and ACS risk as measured by pulse cardiac test, a warning. So he goes on to describe this test called Plus Cardiac. It essentially measures multiple biomarkers that can generate a 5-year risk score for having ACS, which is basically a heart attack. The inflammatory markers considered are IL-16, which is a cytokine, soluble FAS, which causes the cells to die, which is called apoptosis, a hepatocyte growth factor. This serves as a marker for the movement of the T cells into the cell in heart tissue. So Dr. Gundry runs a preventative health cardiology practice where he does these tests in generating pulse scores, and he's able to give them a percentage risk of getting a heart attack over the next 5 years. So what he found is, in a study using 566 patients aged 28 to 97, those who received the poke had the test drawn 2 to 10 weeks following that, and they're compared to the previous score that same patient population had before the poke, about 3 to 5 months before. From analyzing these two intervals of time, Dr. Gundry had showed that certain inflammatory markers increased pretty dramatically after the poke. So this includes IL-16, which increased from about 35 to about 82, AFOS, which increased from about 22 to about 46, and HGF increased from 42 to 86, over doubling. And so this ultimately resulted in an increased pulse score from a 11% 5-year heart attack risk to a 25% 5-year heart attack risk, more than doubling the score for this patient population. And it was noted that these changes in these biomarkers persist for at least 2.5 months after the second dose of the poke. So given what Dr. Gundry found in his study, I do believe that this is a sufficient smoking gun, which implicates the primary decision makers for public health of governments around the entire world. The additional needed steps would be to do a case review of the patients who had heart attacks just this year, using a full spectrum of statistical analysis in order to determine if there's a new external factor which may have increased the risk of heart attack. This same type of study could be reproduced in other settings to further confirm these initial observations. And with further confirmation, I do believe we're nearing the eve where some actions will have to be taken. At this point, the Stockholm Syndrome psychological mass formation is so complete. Influential nonprofits, medical boards, and governmental organizations so bought in and otherwise compromised, it may come up to the people in a grassroots fashion to address these ills which are becoming so apparent. Either the NWO subjugation will be completed or multiple revolutions will occur. Now we fight.